Hello. So I just wanted to talk about some basic tips and things that you can implement in your life to help your pet with their anxiety. I just want to start by saying every dog is different. Every dog's story and process and journey with you is unique and is an individual experience. So what I'm going to be talking about is very generalized, that I feel like could be applied in a lot of different situations. So definitely just a tip that can be difficult sometimes. But first things first, your energy and your dog's energy feed off of each other. So when it comes to helping your dog with their anxiety, it's going to be best that you also focus on your own energy and the emotions that you're putting out when you're around your dog. It's best to be as calm and open and gentle and slow and respectful when a dog is being very fearful and anxious. Sometimes getting too close to it and getting excited and getting worried about it being anxious is going to create this really bad loop for the two of you guys. And it can be really hard to break sometimes, especially if it's been years and years. And I find that oftentimes dogs have, especially rescue dogs, come from a situation where they have probably gone through trauma. And with dogs, they don't always have the same sense of time that we do. And sometimes the past, when it's so painful like that for them, feels like the present moment. It just gets stuck and juxtaposed on top of the present moment, and they haven't really let that process yet. So their normal life seems scary to them, and they might act out in ways out of fear. Like some dogs that get very anxious can get a little bit aggressive, some get more withdrawn, etc. And that is just a part of what it is sometimes because of the world that they have to accommodate to and live in, and the kind of people and situations they're exposed to. So it's just a good thing to honor and note that maybe your pet has been through something, and that even when you get to a good place with your anxiety with them, it's normal just sometimes how we get freaked out by certain situations, and sometimes they just need a minute, and it's okay to let them breathe. And there will be setbacks, of course, but you can only keep trying to do the best that you can every day with them. So I think being optimistic and hopeful and pretty calm and caring for your pet and giving them a space like that to exist will really relieve a lot of pressure if it is built up. So anxiety comes in many forms. Obviously, there's separation anxiety, there's crate anxiety, there's just generalized anxiety. There's an anxiety that's byproduct of not really enough exercise. And that's just something I want to talk about really briefly is exercise can be extremely helpful for all forms of anxiety in dogs. A lot of times they just want something to do. It can be very breed specific even. They want a job, they want to accomplish something, they want to be working with you and using their brain. And when that doesn't happen for extended amounts of time or a long amount of time, it can start making them feel very anxious. So a really good thing and a tool to help your anxiety journey with your dog is to just push yourself to exercise them more. It doesn't even have to be a strain on your own physical body, depending on your situation, but like playing fetch in the yard, or just making them run around the house, or doing certain tricks and making them sit and up and sit. There's a billion things you could do, and all kinds of different creative ways that you can interact with your dog to help them be more physically active. And even dropping them off at a daycare or taking them to the park every now and then, or like on some random adventure, can really do heaps and bounds for anxiety, especially for that day. I really think it makes a huge difference, especially if a dog can just really let itself go and get exhausted and get a really good amount of exercise. It really allows them to calm down and feel relaxed within themselves and feel like they did everything that they could. And it allows them to rest their brain. And I think that that's really important. I think that you know, nutrition is a really huge topic, and a lot of people have a lot of different opinions about it in the veterinary community when it comes to foods. I think that they can be a huge contributor to physical, mental, and emotional disturbances in dogs. I think there's a lot of foods out there that really aren't the best, that, you know, even though your dog is fine, it's really not contributing to them on a lot of levels where a different food could be, you know? Like, they could just be getting a little bit more nutrition and a little bit more energy to work with that is balanced in the first place, and so it just is a boost to anything that you're trying to accomplish. Especially because, like humans and like all mammal beings on this planet and the way that our chakras work, if you're not coming from a spiritual place here, I'll explain. Really, they're just energy centers on the body, and the energy center that is responsible for digestion and your stomach and your GI tract is also directly related to your emotions, and a bit the energy center above that, which has to do with your brain and processing and thinking and how you interact with other people. So I really think that having a balanced nutrition and a good diet, and even maybe like, a lot of anxious dogs don't want to eat, or they eat too fast, or they get sick a lot, and sometimes it can even manifest as sickness. So I think that's really important to get them balanced and find a protein that works the best with them. Find a formula that you know and trust, that you support the company and the brand. You know, you're really looking for good ingredients. Like, if the first thing is byproducts, I think if you're trying to really help your dog here from a psychological standpoint, it's just something you can add to your repertoire. You know, everyone is in their own financial situation, but there's usually pretty good, you know, Wellness is a really good brand. I don't know, at like general pet stores, but there are a bunch of them, and there's a lot of research, and there's a lot of different opinions, and it's totally cool if you don't agree with me. You know, I don't want to say too many brand names, but the point being is you could probably look into their nutrition a little bit more, maybe get them like a probiotic, maybe, you know, you can also try like calming medications, especially if your dog is at a really heightened state of anxiety for a long time, or it becomes particularly aggressive or hard to work with. There are definitely options that can help your dog in the beginning or indefinitely, because, you know, some dogs really, the trauma sticks with them as much as you can get through it. Like I said, it's really a huge spectrum of animals and dogs that are going through this, but calming medications can really be helpful sometimes, and a lot of them can be really mild and holistic and just made in the form of treats. It can kind of help give you an edge and take the edge off for your pet, so that they can even relax enough so that you can work with them a little bit more. You know, same kind of works with us, but yeah, I think as simple as it is, diet and exercise is a really important approach to anxiety, training. You know, you really want to make sure that you and your dog have an established connection like that, and that you know, they have boundaries and restrictions, and that they have a leader and somebody to look up to, because that's very calming for them, and they want to know that they're in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing. That's really important for them. So for you to direct them at times and be able to be in control of them and even correct them and say no is really fundamental for anxiety, because you want to get as much structure that you can. You know, having a routine is really helpful. There's so many, like, you can fill a Kong with low-fat yogurt and freeze it overnight, and leave your dog with that for the day, and it can really make a huge difference. There are like Adaptil plugins that release positive pheromones for dogs throughout your living space, and different essential oils like lavender, and that can be calming for them. These are all just some really basic tips that you could apply and see if it benefits your dog in any way. But I really wish you the best in your journey and trying to make your pet a little bit more comfortable. I think that's really commendable. And thank you for watching this video. Let me know what you think.